Thank you, Veli, for joining us today on the next episode of Meet the GPP. If you would like, could you tell me a little bit about yourself and your research interests?
Sure. So I'm a philosopher, and I work at the intersection of epistemology and ethics, with a particular focus on epistemic injustice and the decolonization of knowledge. Well, I was trained as a classical epistemologist, working in kind of impact on the very concepts that this project is about. But I slowly started drifting towards more ethical issues in the last few years, starting with work on reasons for belief, on which I published a book with Cambridge University Press. And then I discovered social epistemology. Okay, I make it sound like I discovered religion, but you know what I mean. So it was really quite revelationary because it tells us that the stuff I learned about knowledge and epistemic concepts basically misses out crucial aspects of knowledge, the knowledge practice and the knowledge enterprise. And in particular, it misses out the way subjects are situated socially. And that means that everything about knowledge production, instead of being the way we traditionally see it, becomes entangled with relations of power and existing social structures, and crucially with structures of oppression. So that's how I ended up working on epistemic injustice and decolonization. So at the moment I'm working at the University of Johannesburg. I'm professor and head of department of philosophy there. And from July, I'm going to be the director of the African Center for Epistemology and Philosophy of Science, which is still under the philosophy department at UJ.
Oh, that's very exciting. Congratulations.
Thank you.
What's your involvement with the Geography of Philosophy project?
So I'm the South African team leader. So I've been with the project since its inception. Initially, I put together the team, the South African team, and then coordinated some of the ideas that we had for studies coming from our South African context. And then later, I've been overseeing the study designs and the studies themselves. And we organized 2 conferences here, including the first all-team online conference for the Geography of Philosophy project.
Can you describe the importance of cross-cultural research? What do you think about that topic as a whole?
I think that I can't really overemphasize how important it is. And this is part of my social epistemology revelation, that I think that this kind of cross-cultural research, at least in philosophy, I'm not sure how it works in other disciplines, but it's really crucial for both social justice and for the knowledge enterprise as a whole. And I think that, at least in the philosophical context, it's important because it challenges the sort of universalist assumptions about the nature of man, the rational animal, and subverts the kind of dichotomies such as rationality versus emotion and so on, which have historically served to oppress a vast portion of the planet. And the problem with such assumptions is that they always come from a particular place, while masquerading as objective and universal and neutral. And usually that place is a place of social power. So that kind of place also usually arrogates to itself a kind of epistemic authority that it doesn't actually have. So for a long time, philosophers, for example, have told us that concepts such as knowledge and wisdom and understanding, the core concepts of the project, are universal. So they're supposed to be shared across cultures. But in fact, the thing that's shared, that was supposed to be shared, is in fact just the Eurocentric view of these concepts, as we increasingly discover in this project. So, not to go on too much, but by doing cross-cultural research, as the project does, I think we undermine the self-arrogated authority of the Eurocentric worldview and move towards much greater epistemic equality and justice, which is accompanied usually with a better grip on how the world really is, instead of a sort of grip on a world made up for a privileged few.
Absolutely. I think you hit all the major points there. Yeah, what do you think we'll learn from the geography of philosophy research studies that we're doing?
We're going to learn a lot of interesting facts about cross-cultural differences in these concepts. And we're already learning very interesting things. As was, I was quite fascinated by some of the things that some of the colleagues in South America, for example, told us at our last conference. So we're going to learn lots of interesting and intriguing facts. But I think the best thing that we're going to learn from the project are not facts, but values and virtues, and in particular, the virtue of humility and the virtue of open-mindedness, and of learning that that our world is a big place, and it's not just one Western way, but it's a wonderfully rich and diverse place. So that's, to me, going to be the most important moral from the philosophy, from the Geography of Philosophy project.
Thank you very much. Is there anything else you would like to add to that?
Not really. I just wanted to say thank you to the Templeton Foundation and to the PIs for giving me the opportunity to be involved in this. I think we're making history, and it's awesome to be part of this. Thank you.
Thank you.